So, picture this. You wake up in the morning, the sun is just starting to come through the window.
Best time of the day.
Right. You feel really rested. You reach over to your nightstand and you pick up your phone. You just want to check, like, one quick thing.
It's always just one thing.
Exactly. So you open an app, you scroll through a few short videos, then, you look at some photos, then a few more videos.
And before you know it,
Suddenly you look at the clock and an entire hour has vanished. Just completely gone.
yeah, it's a scenario almost every single person listening has experienced.
Oh, absolutely. Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a really interesting source text that explores the daily reality of social media.
And our mission today is specifically tailored for those of you out there who are learning English.
Right. We want to keep the language really accessible. We're going to weigh the positive and negative aspects of these digital platforms and help you master the essential vocabulary we use to, navigate them.
Because going back to that lost morning hour, we tend to blame our own lack of willpower for that, right?
Jack, we just can't put the phone down.
Exactly. But our source actually points out that these platforms are engineered specifically to bypass our willpower.
Which brings us right to the core question of our exploration today. Is this massive digital habit actually bringing value to our lives, or is it quietly draining us?
That is the big question.
But before we can actually judge whether it's good or bad, I think we need to clearly define what we're actually interacting with. We throw the term around constantly, but social media is a huge shift from how humans used to consume information.
What's fascinating here is how simple the breakdown of the word is. I mean, think about traditional media like television, radio, or newspapers.
That was basically a one-way street, right?
Exactly.
Right.
A broadcaster sent information out, and you passively consumed it. You just sat there and watched. But the revolution here is right in that first word, social.
Right, because social means talking to people.
Yeah. It becomes a two-way street. Media refers to the information, like photos, videos, or text. So together, it's a collection of websites and apps where the users themselves are creating and sharing the content.
And the landscape is dominated by just a few massive players. Our source lists the heavy hitters. You've got Facebook, which, built its empire on connecting real-world friends and family.
Then there's Instagram for highly visual photos.
Right. And WhatsApp, which is basically a global text messaging network. X, which used to be Twitter, operates like a giant public square for news. And then, of course, YouTube and TikTok.
A pretty diverse list.
It is. And looking at that list, I have a hard time putting them all in the same box. They function so differently.
How do you mean?
Well, take YouTube. For me, YouTube acts almost like a free open school. If the water pipe under my sink breaks, I can find a video of a plumber showing me exactly how to fix it step by step.
Right. It's very intentional.
Exactly. I have a specific goal, I search for the answer, and I learn a skill. But TikTok feels like a completely different animal.
It really does.
You don't necessarily go there to search for a specific answer. You open the app and it just starts feeding you very short, very fast videos, one after another. So I guess I'm wondering, because it relies on those really fast videos, does that make it specifically the most addictive platform?
Well, that distinction is crucial. You're touching on the concept of addictive design from our source.
Mm-hmm.
The text defines an addictive platform as something so fun or engaging that you physically feel unable to stop doing it.
And you think the short videos are the trap?
It's the short videos combined with the removal of natural stopping cues. Think about reading a physical book. When you reach the end of a chapter, your brain gets a natural signal.
Like a signal that says, okay, this is a good place to pause.
Exactly. Or when you watch a TV show, the credits roll. There's a built-in ending. But platforms that use an infinite scroll deliberately remove those stopping cues.
Because the next video just starts playing instantly.
Right. Before your brain can even process the thought, I should put my phone down, a new, colorful, loud piece of information is already happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it creates a seamless loop. You're getting a tiny chemical reward in your brain with each new video. That's exactly how an entire hour vanishes while you're lying in bed. It's not a mistake in the design.
It's the whole point of the system.
Exactly.
Well, if the design is engineered that aggressively to trap us, it begs a pretty massive question. If these apps are so distracting, why do billions of people willingly hand over their attention every single day?
Because we must be getting something valuable in return.
Right. And the text points out that the benefits are actually profound. The most obvious one is instant connection.
Yes. The source gives some really relatable examples of this, like how you can instantly see what a friend living all the way in London had for breakfast.
Which On the surface, a photo of breakfast seems kind of trivial, but it's not really about the food, is it?
No, not at all. It's about maintaining a thread of intimacy with someone who is an ocean away. It collapses physical distance. The source shares an even more powerful example about a grandmother who lives far away from her family.
Oh, the WhatsApp example.
Right. Without technology, she might feel intensely lonely. But through an app like WhatsApp, she can receive daily photos of her family's pet cat or, short videos of her grandchildren.
And getting those photos isn't just a distraction for her, it actively combats loneliness.
Exactly. It's a daily pulse of family life. But the benefits go way beyond just staying in touch with people you already know.
Oh, definitely. The text highlights how these platforms provide instant access to global breaking news within seconds.
And beyond news, they're incredibly powerful free tools for learning and community building.
This is where I think the real value is for our listeners. Finding a group of people who share your exact interests. Before the internet, if you had a very specific hobby, you might be the only person in your town who cared about it.
Right, you were isolated. But now you can find your exact tribe online.
Exactly. Whether your passion is photography or growing a garden on an apartment balcony, or, highly relevant for anyone listening right now, practicing English.
Yes. There's a massive, incredibly supportive community of English learners and native speakers sharing resources every single minute of the day.
And finding your specific tribe online can turn a simple app into a daily, free educational tool. You're turning a distraction machine into an investment in yourself.
Which sounds incredibly empowering.
But, as with every powerful tool, there is a dark side. What happens when these digital communities start to actually make us feel worse about ourselves?
That brings us to the cost of admission. The source text categorizes these dangers quite clearly, starting with what it calls the time thief.
The time thief. I like that phrasing. We touched on the infinite scroll earlier, but a thief literally takes something valuable from you without permission.
Right. It steals your time. Bringing us back to that lost morning hour. When you spend 3 hours mindlessly swiping, you haven't just lost 3 hours. You've lost the energy and focus you could have used for something else.
Yeah, but while the time thief steals your hours, there's another danger that steals your peace of mind. What happens when we look at someone else's life and compare it to our own?
The text introduces this as the psychological danger of the comparison trap.
This is such a relatable visual from the text. Just picture yourself on a regular Tuesday evening. It's like sitting on your sofa in your old pajamas. Your house is maybe a little messy, and you feel entirely ordinary.
We've all been there.
Right, and then you open an app and suddenly you're looking at a photo of someone on a beautiful, expensive vacation or eating fancy food.
And suddenly you feel like your own life is incredibly boring.
Even though logically we know it's not a fair comparison, it just hits us so hard emotionally.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's because of human psychology. Our brains are wired to compare ourselves to the people around us. But we are not wired to compare ourselves to the curated highlights of billions of people globally.
The text uses the phrase highlight reel, right?
Yes. Think of a sports highlight reel. It only shows the amazing goals. It edits out all the mistakes and the boring parts. Social media is exactly that. It's a highlight reel of someone's life.
That's a great point. People don't post pictures of their messy houses or moments when they're crying.
Exactly. It is a filtered life, not a real life. And when you constantly consume a filtered life, you begin to mistake it for reality.
Which is so dangerous. And the source briefly touches on privacy risks too, right?
Yes. The dangers of sharing our exact location and deeply personal photos with complete strangers just to try and build our own perfect highlight reels.
Right, just to look good online. So to survive in this filtered life, we really need to understand the language that governs it.
We do. We need to master the lexicon of the feed. The vocabulary here represents the actual tools we use to navigate the space.
Okay, let's break down that vocabulary for our listeners, keeping it really simple and clear. Let's start with the most basic word, post.
Right, post.
It's actually both a verb and a noun. As a verb, it means putting something on the internet, like, I'm going to post a photo of my dog.
And as a noun, it's the specific item you shared. Like, did you see my new post about pizza?
Exactly. Now, the real power comes in how we control what we see. And that relies on the words follow, follower, and unfollow.
The mechanics of curating your feed. When you follow someone, you're telling the app to show you their photos and videos.
And by doing that, you become their follower.
Right. But the most important tool you have is the reverse action, unfollow.
The unfollow button. We'll definitely come back to how powerful that word is. But once you do see a post, how do you interact with it? That's where like and comment come in.
Clicking a little heart is a like. It's just a quick way to interact. Writing a message underneath the photo is a comment.
Very straightforward. But there's one more really important term in our source. Can you explain what it means when something goes viral?
Going viral. That means a photo or a video becomes massively popular, seen by millions of people in just 1 or 2 days.
It just spreads everywhere, almost like a real virus.
Exactly. It hits the exact right psychological buttons to compel people to share it instantly.
Well, hey, maybe this deep dive will go viral.
We can hope.
Fingers crossed. So now we know the language and we know the risks of the platform. How do we actually protect ourselves from that time thief we talked about?
How do we take back control? The source offers a really practical framework for this. It introduces the concept of a digital detox.
A digital detox?
Yeah.
I like thinking about this like a diet, actually.
How so?
Well, treating your phone usage like a diet means you don't have to give it up entirely, but you have to be mindful. It means putting the screen away for a few hours, or maybe even a whole day.
Right, like choosing to keep the phone away during dinner so you can actually talk to your family instead of staring at a screen.
Exactly. Creating screen-free zones. And the source also recommends setting time limits on your apps, which I have to admit, I have tried setting a 30-minute app limit on my phone.
And how did that work out?
Well, when the 30 minutes are up, the screen locks and a message pops up. But there's usually a little button that says, give me 15 more minutes. And honestly, I hit that button constantly.
You are definitely not alone in that. But, even if you hit that button, the true value of those limits is making you aware of what's happening.
Aware.
Yeah. When you're scrolling, you lose track of time. When that warning screen pops up, it breaks the trance. It forces you to realize that 30 minutes just vanished. So even if you choose to add 15 more minutes, it's now a conscious choice.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It stops being an accident. But what about the actual content we consume during those 30 minutes?
This brings us to the most crucial piece of advice in the entire text. Clean your feed.
Clean your feed. This goes back to the unfollow button.
Exactly. You have to be ruthless about it. If following someone makes you feel angry or sad or jealous like you're failing at life, you should simply hit unfollow.
Just get them out of your digital space.
Right. You should only follow accounts that make you feel happy or teach you something or inspire you.
I think that's the perfect takeaway for the listener right there. Your social media should make your life better, not worse.
It really is that simple.
It is. Well, this has been an incredible journey today.
It has. Just to summarize impartially, we've explored how these platforms possess this amazing ability to connect us globally and offer free learning communities.
But we've also weighed the very real dangers. The lost time from the time thief, the privacy risks, and the trap of comparing our real lives to someone else's highlight reel.
It all comes down to how we use the tools.
Exactly. And that brings us to you, the listener. We want you to actively reflect on what we've discussed today. What is your favorite app? And honestly, how much time do you spend on it every day?
Look at your screen time, if you're brave enough.
Yeah, try it. And ultimately, do you think it brings more good or more bad into your life? We really encourage you to practice your English by answering these questions maybe with a friend or in an online community.
And as you think about that, I want to leave you with one final, lingering question.
Okay, let's hear it.
If social media trains us to only consume the highlight reels of human existence, only the perfect vacations and happy moments, what happens to our empathy? What happens to our shared understanding of normal, messy, everyday human struggles when they completely disappear from our digital view?
Wow. If we only see the perfect moments, we might forget how to handle the messy reality of being human. That is a lot to think about.
It is.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Now, do yourself a favor, put your phone down, go outside, and enjoy the real, unfiltered world. See you next time.